Today, we are diving into one of the most anticipated, most pivotal moments in all of American literature. We're talking about the reunion of Jay Gatsby and Daisy Buchanan in Chapter 5 of The Great Gatsby.
This is the one question that just pulses under every single word of this chapter. Gatsby has literally orchestrated his entire life, built an empire, all for this one afternoon. But as we're going to see, when that perfect ideal finally meets cold, hard reality, well, the result is anything but simple.
So the scene is set at Nick Carraway's little cottage, right? It's supposed to be this neutral ground for their huge meeting. But instead of some fairy tale romance, the chapter kicks off with this almost unbearable tension, all driven by Gatsby's crazy, all-consuming anxiety.
And the level of Gatsby's preparation is just staggering. He doesn't just, tidy up a bit. He completely transforms Nick's place. He has what sounds like an entire forest of flowers delivered and gets Nick's lawn professionally manicured. It's this frantic, desperate attempt to control every single tiny detail of a moment he's been dreaming about for 5 years.
But after all that prep, the moment Daisy finally arrives is a complete and total disaster. This is the man who throws the most legendary parties, and suddenly he's paralyzed. He's pale, he can barely speak, the conversation is just painful. This is not some grand, sweeping, romantic reunion. It's just awkward, so awkward.
His whole state of mind is captured perfectly in this one little moment. He's so nervous, he leans against Nick's mantelpiece and almost knocks over a clock that stopped working. He catches it, right? But the symbolism is impossible to miss. Gatsby is literally trying to stop time, to rewind it, and just hold on to a piece of the past.
And the word Fitzgerald uses to describe that clock is so important: defunct. It's not just broken, it's no longer functioning. And that makes it the perfect metaphor for Gatsby's obsession with a past that is also defunct, a past he's desperately trying to bring back to life.
Okay, so after that excruciatingly painful start, Nick does the smart thing and decides to just leave them alone. He goes outside in the rain for about half an hour, and when he comes back, the entire vibe has changed.
The shift is just stunning. All that awkwardness, gone. Gatsby is absolutely glowing. The book says he's radiant. And Daisy, even though she's obviously been crying, is full of this kind of bewildered joy. So hurdle number 1, cleared.
Now the real show begins. Gatsby takes them across the lawn to his colossal mansion, and it becomes so clear, so fast, that this house was never just a home, it's a stage. It's a massive piece of theater built for an audience of one, Daisy.
And this reveals such a fascinating psychological detail. You realize that the value of all his incredible wealth, his tapestries, his library full of books he's never read, it's all meaningless on its own. The only thing that gives it worth is her reaction. He is literally revaluing his entire existence based on the look in Daisy's eyes.
And then we get to one of the most famous and, frankly, one of the strangest scenes in the whole book. In his bedroom, Gatsby decides to show Daisy not his art, not his amazing gardens, but his shirts.
Just picture this for a second. He's not just showing them to her. He's throwing them in this big, colorful pile. Shirts made of silk, flannel, and fine linen. It's this almost desperate display, right? A tangible, material avalanche of his success. It's like he's saying, look at all this. This is what I did, and it was all for you.
And her reaction is huge. She just buries her head in this pile of shirts and starts to sob. She's not just a little teary-eyed. She is full-on weeping over his beautiful shirts.
But why? What is she really crying about? Is it just the sheer shock of his wealth? Is she mourning the 5 years they lost? Maybe she's finally seeing the immense, tangible proof of the love and the life that she gave up. The book never tells us for sure, which leaves her tears as this powerful, complicated symbol.
So, with the emotional reunion seeming like a success, the chapter pivots to its symbolic turning point. Gatsby finally gets to talk about the one object that has guided his entire quest for all these years.
And the contrast is just so stark. For years, that little green light on Daisy's dock was everything to him. It was this enchanted, colossal symbol of his dream. But now, with Daisy standing right there next to him, it's just a green light on a dock. The magic is gone, replaced by plain old reality.
And this points to a really deep, tragic irony. Gatsby got what he wanted. He has Daisy right there in his house. But in that exact moment of victory, the symbol that kept him going for 5 years completely loses its power.
The chase was everything. Actually getting it is less. And this brings us to the central tragedy of the entire novel, and it all comes into focus right here, at the absolute peak of Gatsby's happiness, that unbridgeable gap between the dream and the actual person.
Nick notices that the idea of Daisy that Gatsby had built up in his mind over 5 long, lonely years had become so enormous, so perfect, that no real human being could ever possibly live up to it. His dream wasn't just about Daisy the woman anymore. It had grown beyond her, beyond everything.
And it seems like even Gatsby, on some level, can feel this. As the chapter ends, Nick catches this fleeting look of bewilderment on his face. He's done it. He's achieved his life's goal, and yet there's a flicker of confusion, a sense that something isn't quite what he expected.
And this just lays bare the heartbreaking truth of his whole situation. Gatsby has won the prize, but he's starting to sense that the prize itself, the real, flawed human Daisy, can't possibly fill the enormous space created by his perfect 5-year-long illusion.
And that's really the question Chapter 5 leaves us wrestling with. Gatsby's tragedy isn't just his own. It's a huge commentary on desire itself. It makes us ask, is the dream always more powerful than actually getting it? Can any reality, no matter how wonderful, ever truly measure up to that perfect illusion we've built inside our own minds?